Once you've verified your Google My Business, what do you do to get started? That's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. So, in the prior episode to this, I talked about how to get started on Google My Business in the sense of setting it up and getting your verification code. So, this is the step that you take after you have gotten that verification code, and it's you've submitted the verification code, and now you're seeing this little verified sign. So when you get into your Google My Business and you get in here, it's going to look like this. And this can be really overwhelming. They're like, where do I start? So the first thing I say is skip posts. I'm going to talk about posts next week, but go to info. This is what I'm going to focus on today. You want to make sure your business information is correct. Now, the key is your business information needs to be correct across the entire web. It needs to be the exact same on your website, any directories like the BBB or Yellow Pages, and your Google My Business. And what do I mean by that? It means your address, but more importantly, your name. I'll see different variations of a name. It could be Garibaldi Eye Care, or Garibaldi Eye Care Limited, or Garibaldi Eye Care Incorporated, and that's wrong. It needs to be the same across everything. So that's the first thing to know before you start into this. So that's the name. Then you want to make sure that you choose the right category. So if you go into here, you can add a primary, secondary, and even tertiary category. And it's important that you choose the right categories that you want to rank for. Then you want to make sure your address is correct. Now it should be correct because you already verified you got the code, but it should be correct. For most clinics, the service area is not going to be important. This is for like plumbers and people who do home visits and home repairs, accountants if they they come to your business, that kind of thing. But for clinics where you need the patient to come to you, the service area doesn't matter. Hours of operation, pretty self-explanatory. Special holidays, pretty self-explanatory. Phone numbers and all of this is pretty self-explanatory. If you have an appointment link, like this is actually, we could update this to their Optosis. Products for most clinics don't apply. It's the services that are really important. So there's two things here. You got your categories that Google's going to put you into their box, and then you got your services. And you want to make sure you actually add all the services that you want to rank for. So any service that you provide or any treatment you provide, you can see what we have here, right? You want to add in there. And if I click it open, you'll see how this works. So you got the primary category in your services and eye care center, and so you add services under each category. From there, like accessibility is super important, but a lot of this health and safety came out as with COVID. You don't need to fill it out. It actually won't move the needle very much, but feel free. A business description, opening date, and photos. Photos we're going to talk about. I'll talk about it now. Business description is optional. It won't have a huge impact on ranking, but could have an impact on people clicking through. I have to actually ask my team why this isn't filled out, because to me it should be filled out, but maybe there's a reason, and I don't even know about it. Opening date usually isn't important. Now, photos are important. So you see the photos and see how they show up? Google likes that. People like that. If it's anything that the user will click on, Google will support it because it's part of the user experience. So if you go over here, we have lots of wonderful photos of the team, photos of the clinic, all those kinds of things that people want to see. Super, super important. And you can add video in here too, add the team, like they let you create all these categories. They even now have a product editor, like you can go to town. So adding photos is usually one of the things that most clinics we find skip, and it's really, really important. So the rest of this, you actually don't need to optimize. Everything here on the right hand side, like advertising minutes, is Google promoting Google Ads. You're not closing it, you're optimizing it. And store codes is only if you have multiple locations. Again, not important. Labels is something we use internally, and a Google Ads phone, again, not important unless you're doing tracking. But that's the majority of it, of how to get started with your Google My Business. Like I said, next week I'm going to talk about posts, and then I'm going to touch on reviews and the messages and calls, and I'm going to go through each of these. Some of these I'm actually going to skip, and then I'll leave it off too with insights, so you can actually learn to read what does all of this mean. But first, we're going to go through setting everything up. So like I said, next week I'm going to talk about posts and how important that is. So we'll see you there.